morning, it's Randytbird out here in sunny, hot Arizona. It's about 6:45 in the morning on Sunday, September 4th. Can you believe it? September. Labor Day weekend. Just out riding today on the Heritage, my 2022 Heritage Classic 114. So just today, I was just thinking some of the conversations I've had with some subscribers, and what is the difference between a bagger and a Heritage? Okay, well, I've had a couple baggers. I've had a couple of I had a Street Glide, an Electric Glide, and a Road King over the years, and so I feel like I do have some background in comparing. But one of the first things that I will bring up as far as comparing the two genres there, if you will call it, or the two segments, is probably a better description, is weight. The Heritage fully loaded is a little over 710 pounds, something like that. A little heavier than, say, a Street Bob or a Standard or whatever. Lowrider S is a little heavier than a Street Bob, but that's about 200 pounds less than a Road King, and more than 200 pounds less than, say, a Road Glide or a Electric Glide. Limited is much heavier. Road Glide, I believe, is pretty heavy as well. But so you really feel the difference when you're cornering and moving them around, especially at slow speeds. It's just they're much more agile. The frame architecture is completely different. The Softail, you know, for what it's worth, it was a huge improvement over the Dyna chassis. And don't get me wrong, I love Dynas, but it's just a different kind of motorcycle. It's not really, you know, you really can't compare. So, but back to the baggers. On the baggers, you have hard bags, locking hard bags with the one-touch release. On the Heritage, you have locking bags with a one-touch release. However, they are more nostalgic looking. They've got like a vinyl coating over them, makes them look like leather bags, and more nostalgic. They hold less. They do lock. I don't know if the weather protection is good. I've never had the bags on any of my other baggers leak in a rainstorm or washing the bike or anything like that. I've never had a leak. I've heard that some people have had leaks in their bags on long rides in the rain. These people mostly were from Florida. In that part of the country, I know it rains a lot there and rains hard. So out here in Arizona, rain is not generally a problem. We have big storms sometimes, but you know, it's not torrential all the time, you know, and not tropical like Florida and down in that parts of the country and back in the northeast where you get rain. As far as comfort, I guess comfort's another subjective thing. You got a big windshield, you got a big seat on here. It's wide, it's supportive. The windshield does a tremendous job of blocking the wind, and it's not really obtrusive. I got little smears on my windshield. I can't believe I just did that. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, my videos are not super polished, as you probably have noticed. But the windshield does a great job of blocking the wind. I do intend to put a reckless fairing on this, as I did with the 2020 that I had the misfortune of selling. That makes it kind of like a mini bagger, and it comes off with just 4 bolts. There's no instruments, or radio or anything. You can get ones with radio, but whatever. Yeah, you do have the infotainment system, which is a fancy name for radio CD player navigation, that the big baggers have. I know you can get Electric Glide Standard that doesn't have any of that stuff if you're if you're a purist, then you don't feel like you need any of that. I myself don't feel like I need any of that. I had a radio on my Street Glide that I used to own, and to be honest, I hardly ever used it. It was more of a novelty than anything. And although what I know of the new ones, they're pretty nice, and people like the navigation. I navigate the old way. Look it up before I go, and I can look at a map and usually figure out where I'm going. My wife would probably disagree. I know that Google Maps will sometimes take you on a wild goose chase, but that's that. Let me see. They both have either the availability or standard 114 motors, which has plenty of power even for the large weight. The Heritage is going to be a quicker bike because it is so much lighter. What I read something is it takes 1 horsepower to drive 10 pounds. So the state of tune in the motors is pretty much the same. The specials all have the free flowing air cleaner, and I always throw a set of slip-ons on, so it kind of gives you a instant stage 1 without a whole lot of fuss. And let me see what else. Wheels and tires. You've got 16-inch wheels on the Heritage, and you've got a 16-inch rear on the baggers, and depending on the model, a 17 or 19-inch wheel on the front. That rear tire is going to cost you a lot more on the bagger if you're looking at maintenance costs. As far as oil changes and services, I imagine they're all pretty much the same. Maybe the bagger costs you a little bit more because it's more electronics and whatever, but like I say, tires are going to cost you more. And this one has your basic 16-inch wheels on it, and tires are expensive anyway, but for the most part the tires are going to be a little bit cheaper on the Heritage, so your long-term maintenance costs are going to be a bit less. The handlebars on the bagger are a little bit lower, depending on again which model that you have. If you have a stock Road King, the stock bars are atrocious. They got weird angles on them, but the Road King Special has different bars, and then you can of course get a million aftermarket options, either from Harley or from the aftermarket. And but the mini apes that are on the Heritage are some of the most comfortable handlebars that I've ever experienced. Right up there with the mini apes that are on the Street Bob. The Dyna Street Bobs, I thought was, for me anyway, the best handlebars I've ever ridden with. Instrumentation, you've got on the bagger, you have separate tack and speedo. On the Heritage, you have a combined unit. What the heck is that? Oh, camping gear. Somebody, they're off in the road. Anyway, so I don't know, that's just an overall comparison. I said the biggest difference is going to be weight, and if you like a heavier bike, they're supremely comfortable going down the road. I will counter with the Heritage is supremely comfortable going down the road. You can put a tour pack on these if you like such things. On my older one, I did have one of the detachable tour pack, and it was big enough to put a full face helmet in, and you can carry a lot of stuff with it. If I'm going for a ride on a bike of any real distance, I'm going to take a couple changes of clothes and rain suit, tools, things of that nature. I'm not moving or anything, so you know, if you got to carry that much stuff, you probably need a truck anyway. So. And anyway, again, the frame architecture is different on the baggers in there, and the bagger has twin shocks on the back that are adjustable for preload on the one shock, and a lot of people change the shocks out. Here on the Softail, it has a single monoshock that's adjustable for preload. It has a hydraulic adjuster underneath the seat, again depending on the model. The Heritage does have the hydraulic adjuster. Some models have an external hydraulic adjuster that's right next to the exhaust pipe, which it makes me wonder what they were thinking of when they did that. But anyway, you do have to take off the seat to adjust it. I know on the bagger you do have to at least undo the saddlebag on the one side to make the adjustment. Most people that I know of, they find the right setting and they just kind of let it be depending on their style of riding. If they ride it too up, most of the time it's going to be set a little harder, and you know, but again, it's not something you're going to have to do all the time. So ride quality, the baggers ride very smooth, they're very comfortable. The Heritage rides nice and smooth as well. Compared to some of the other Softail models, it has the full length of suspension, not the chopped or lowered suspension, like for example the Street Bob has shorter shocks and forks. It does have Harley's whiz-bang bending valve technology forks, which I don't really notice the forks, so I guess when you don't notice things, that might mean they work pretty good. The shock, once you get it adjusted to your weight and your style of riding, is extremely comfortable, and that extra inch of travel or so, not quite an inch of travel that they have on there, combined with the geometry of the swing arm, makes for a comfortable ride. If you're paddling it around at walking speed or parking it, whatever, the Heritage is still a big motorcycle, but it's a lot easier to move around under leg power or arm power than a bagger. You know, I mean, if you drop either motorcycle, well, yeah, you're gonna need a little assistance in picking it up. I know they show the videos of how to pick up a fallen large motorcycle, but it's just better off just to get a little help. So hopefully that never happens to you. You know, speaking of falling over, the Heritage does not come with crash bars. However, they are available through a variety of sources, and I do indeed have one, just haven't put it on yet. I picked up a used one from a friend of mine who had the mustache bar on his Softail and didn't want it, so I did some horse trading, so I just haven't done it yet. It's just too hot this time of year to work in the garage. You're just blinded by your own sweat, and just the heat will overcome you. It's just about 120 degrees in the garage. So anyway, that's my basic overview comparison between a bagger and a Heritage. And if you're in the market, and I think you know who you are, that's the big difference right there. And I thought I would just share that with you from my experience. And you know, truth be told, the Heritage is just a drop-dead gorgeous motorcycle. I mean, the nostalgic styling, whatever, nothing wrong with the classic styling. I'm more, if I was to have a bagger, I'd lean more towards the Batwing fairing and just the classic styling, although I hear there are many, many advantages to a Road Glide. I've actually never ridden a Road Glide, so I can't answer to that. But just to me, the fixed fairing is just not something I'm used to. But anyway, that's pretty much it. And so just today, a nice cloudless morning, or almost cloudless morning. Just out for a ride and enjoying the Heritage that we've been talking about. It's a little warm today. It's going to be about 107 or 8 today. We've had a little hot streak come through, and by the end of next week it's supposed to drop back down. And that's good because I have an event to attend in the middle of the day, so hopefully it's not going to be blistering hot. We've had a couple of hellacious dust storms this week. I don't know if you watch the news and you see what was on there. We had, and I hate this word, haboob, because it never really existed in our vocabulary before a few years back. Basically, it comes down to, it's a big dust storm and a wall of dust that comes across the valley. So we had that the other night. Fortunately, I was not out on the bike when that happened. But it definitely made things sketchy around town. Very little visibility, and just gets everything filthy. My car looked like a cinnamon donut, and then it just sprinkled just enough to mess it up. So there's that. Anyway, this is Randytbird out here at Arizona, just out for a ride this morning. I went over 900 subscribers this week, and I am just amazed and humbled by that. 903 as of this morning. Thank you all for getting me to that milestone. And now it's just a downhill run to the magical 1,000. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. It's really, really appreciated here on this end, and it's just, again, it's humbling that people will watch my items and maybe get something from it. And I am not sponsored by anybody that gives me anything. I have not used TubeBuddy or anything like that. My subscriptions have all been from folks that have watched my videos and picked them up on the internet. And if you use all that stuff, that's all fine and good too. It probably gets you there quicker, but I've just done it this way. And I'm just kind of a traditional kind of guy here. So, but anyway, thank you for subscribing. Thanks for getting me to 900, and I sure do appreciate it. This is Randytbird, and we'll talk to you later.